Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gentex Multimedia live streaming on this 20th day of April, another historic day right here in Queensland, as the Premier has announced the opening and closing ceremony of Olympics and the venue. We will disclose that later in the show. That is amazing news. And not so good news is coming out of India, especially in Delhi, which is in lockdown as the number of beds available for COVID-19 patients are running out. They just cannot cope up with that extraordinary large number of cases that have been reported. That and all much more. But first of all, let's take a quick look at what's happening weather-wise. And with that, let's welcome to Dilraj.
Good morning, everyone. Weather forecast for the rest of today is maximum 28 degree. Brisbane area is mostly sunny with no chance of any rain. Light winds becoming north to northeasterly 15 to 20 km per hour in the afternoon and then becoming light in the evening. Fire danger is low to moderate. Sun protection is recommended till 2:30 and UV index is predicted to reach 6, that is high. Till tomorrow, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day.
And thank you very much for that update, Dilraj. Well, right now, as I mentioned, that there's so much that's happening out there, but, that big news about the opening and closing ceremonies venue for Olympics being announced right here. And I can virtually look out the window and see it.
News for Queenslanders. Of course, we know how important it is to secure the 2032 Brisbane Queensland Olympics, and now we've taken that next step. Yesterday, our Cabinet endorsed our formal proposal for the Olympics, and part of that formal proposal was looking at where we would host the opening and closing ceremonies. And the logical place is right here at the Gabba. What we're talking about today is transformational. It links in with the infrastructure, the transport infrastructure that we are building at the moment. Our government's investing $5.6 billion to build Queensland, Brisbane's brand new underground. What this proposal does is it actually links the Gabba with the Cross River Rail. We would actually build a brand new Gabba. It would be raised up. There would be a pedestrian plaza that would link to our Cross River Rail. No more standing on the street corners with your families, trying to dodge the traffic around peak times. It would be easy access in and out. 3-minute journey from the Brisbane CBD to the Gabba, but also to the Gabba would continue to be the workhorse that it always has been. It is utilised around 40 times during the year, and we want to make sure that we extend that into the future. So we are now in the process of discussions with the federal government about the funding envelopes that we need for the venues and the transport. But we believe over the next 10 years it is very feasible to make sure that we deliver what is needed for the Games. I want to thank Populous. Populous are one of the leading Olympic architects, and they have great experience when it comes to building stadiums, and they have done the designs for this brand new Gabba. This is a game changer. It is honestly so exciting. Cabinet was blown away yesterday when we did the presentation, and today is the public's first look at this exciting transformational Gabba for the city, but also for the Olympics. So I'll hand over to the Minister, Sterling Hinchcliffe, to say a few words. We've got Chris here from Populous, the Deputy Premier and the Treasurer.
Thank you, Premier, and it is wonderful to be here at the Gabba. It was gazetted as a permanent cricket ground in 1895 and has been a fantastic part of this city's sporting history, and we know it'll be a great part of this city and this state's sporting future. That's why this decision to make the main stadium for our 2032 Olympic and Paralympic bid here at the Gabba is such an important one. It's a game changer in so many different ways, but particularly the way in which the stadium will be linked so effectively to high quality transport. Having Cross River Rail even Brisbane Metro, connected so well to this stadium, will be a great delivery for the way in which our bid works, but most significantly for the way in which it'll be a great legacy into the future. Obviously, having a high quality stadium, not only here in the city with a 50,000 seat stadium with the rectangle basis at Suncorp, but having the Gabba at around 50,000 seats for our round field sports in primarily cricket and AFL will add to the suite of our stadia for the long term. As the Premier said, 42 weeks out of the year, on average, the Gabba is in use with high-level competition. It is a workhorse. There's no risk of this stadia and this upgrade becoming a white elephant, and that fits in with the new norms, the requirements that the IOC have for the nature of stadia development into the future for that special event that we want to be a part of. But it delivers a great legacy, a great use, and a 365-day-a-year sort of facility with that concourse and plaza connection between Cross River Rail Station at the Gabba through to the stadium. This will be a game changer for the long term, a really exciting project, and I thank the whole of the government for their support for this proposal.
Chris?
Thank you, Premier. Thank you, Minister. Populists are really excited to be part of this project, and I believe the legacy outcomes that the government have looked at is really, really important. It is about the Olympics, but the legacy outcome of this redevelopment will give the city a Tier 1 venue that it has needed for AFL and cricket, but importantly it'll link it out into the rest of the community around here, link it to Cross River Rail, and really start redeveloping this part of the city. So as the Minister's mentioned, it really is about a legacy outcome for the city. It won't be a white elephant in any way. It'll work fantastically for our key sports, for entertainment, and also for the community itself. So thank you.
DP, then Treasurer?
Thank you, Premier. Well, getting the Olympics to Queensland is about 10 years of jobs for Queenslanders. Jobs delivering the Olympics, but also delivering the infrastructure that our growing city and region needs. We're already building the Cross River Rail, our new underground, completely changing the connectivity of the region, and now the prospect of redeveloping the iconic Gabba and connecting it to the brand new Gabba station, making it a fantastic venue, but also improving the ability of people to get here and get out of here. Just imagine being able to finish an event at Suncorp Stadium, already the world's best rectangular field, jump on a train at Roma Street. In a couple of minutes you will be here at the Gabba, Queensland's the new iconic oval field, one of the world's best. I think the Premier and the Minister have done just a fantastic job, and of course thank you to Populists. We're very proud to have them based here in Brisbane.
Thanks, Premier. 125 years ago, almost to the day, the first modern Olympics were completed in Athens on the 15th of April 1896. That same year, the first sporting event was held here at the Gabba. It was a cricket game between members of Parliament and members of the media, and it was a draw. It was a tie, 61 runs each. Some say things haven't changed. I beg to differ. But what that means is for 125 years, it means for the history of the Olympics there has been a Gabba. For as long as there has been a modern Olympics, there has been the Gabba. And the Gabba, of course, is the home to great Queensland sporting achievement and great Queensland sporting folklore. We have the opportunity to set this stadium up for decades to come as a place of not just national sporting achievement, Queensland sporting achievement, but international sporting achievement. And that's what the Olympics means to Queensland. Securing the world's biggest and best sporting event will help us recover from COVID-19. It will be a sign of great confidence in our state as we recover from COVID-19. And it will create jobs for Queenslanders for a decade. So that is the opportunity that the Olympics presents. We've still got a long way to go, but this announcement today, it shows the commitment of the government to deliver economic recovery, to deliver jobs for Queenslanders, but also to put Queensland on the map for the entire world to see.
Thanks, Treasurer. And of course, this gives everybody hope. I mean, we've been through probably the worst year that many of us have ever experienced in our lifetimes. And the Olympics gives us something to look forward to. It means 130,000 jobs, but also too, all of Queensland can share in the Olympics. I mean, people come from all around Queensland to go to Suncorp, to go to Gabba, but also too, we want Queenslanders and small business to actually really benefit from any procurement as part of the Olympics as well. Happy to take a few questions.
How much will it cost Premier to do this?
We're working out those final details, but we would anticipate around the $1 billion mark. We have a proposal in with the federal government at the moment for venues and for transport. We have said very clearly that we need to share these funding costs, and I'll be having more to say about that over the coming days.
What would you be hoping that funding arrangement would look like with the feds in terms of split costs?
In terms of what we did for the Commonwealth Games, in terms of venues, it was a 50% share. But let me say this very clearly. We already have over 80% of our venues. We only need 7 new venues, and in fact, some of those venues are community-based venues in regions, which would mean a long-term legacy, like we did with Coomera. Yep.
Has the revamped Gabba plan been put to the IOC, and what was their reaction to it?
We have discussed this with John Coates. We were looking at a number of options. So there were 3 options on the table. There was a brand new Albion. Now the problem with Albion was that it is not connected to public transport. What is unique and what is brilliant about this proposal is it links in with the brand new Cross River Rail. You only have to look across the road to see the development that's happening, and we'll have more to show the public when we go underground very shortly to see the work that is happening underneath our city. The other option was Carrara on the Gold Coast, but this actually fitted with everything the government sees in terms of legacy, in terms of utilising an existing asset, which is the Gabba, and making sure that it can continue for the next 120 years.
How substantial will the refurb be? What actually changes to the Gabba?
It'll be completely redone. We looked at a number of options about whether or not you could remodel, but what we're going to see, Joel, is we're actually going to be lifting this stadium up. We are going to be making sure the pedestrian plaza goes over Main Street, and like I said, that means no more, holding your kids' hands, dodging the traffic. This is going to be a game changer. You'll be able to come into the venue easily and leave the venue easily.
So when you say you're completely redoing it, you're essentially demolishing the entire stand around the outside.
Yep, and there will not be a bad seat. There will not be a bad seat. Like when you go to Suncorp Stadium, you feel part of that action. You're going to absolutely feel like that.
So it's essentially a new stadium then, yes?
Sorry?
It's essentially a new
But
stadium.
it's existing. It's in terms of the Gabba is already here. We're actually going to be doing the whole remodelling here, connecting with the public transport and Cross River Rail.
Do you want this stadium to be seen around the country as the most high-tech, as the most modern?
We're looking at that terms. It'll be modern, it'll be high-tech, it'll be sustainable. It's very important. The Olympics places a lot of focus on sustainability. We'll be looking at all of that. But today is the day where we reveal what this Gabba Stadium could look like into the future. And don't forget, the Olympics are 2032. We've got a lot more planning to do in relation to our Olympics bid, but we're up against some timelines to get information to the IOC as quickly as possible, because at the moment we are the only people involved in the targeted dialogue. This is a once-in-a-generational opportunity. It'll set Queensland up for the future, for trade, for tourism, for many years to come. So it'll put Brisbane and Queensland firmly on the international global map.
Is all your paperwork into the IOC, and if not, when do you anticipate everything will be on there?
Yeah, Joel, that's a really good question. And in terms of the paperwork and everything that's needed for the IOC, usually these processes take years. Because we're in targeted dialogue, we have to condense those years of work into months. I have a dedicated team working 7 days a week, doing phone teleconferences with the IOC late into the night to get everything ready. So we've got some timelines We need to get some information to the IOC by next Monday. So we're in deep conversations with the federal government at the moment, and then at the end of May.
Will there need to be any property resumptions for the Gabba rebuild?
Not to my knowledge, no. Not.
What's going to happen to the school?
Sorry? Yeah, we're able to keep the school in terms of the historic buildings and everything, so that's been part of the plans as well.
How will teams like the Lions be compensated when the rebuild's happening?
Oh, look, that's a long way into the distance. We'll be working with all of the teams in relation to that, but we'll definitely find them an alternative place when the rebuild happens. And what is unique about the rebuild is at the moment we're building Cross River Rail, and then when Cross River Rail finishes, then we actually have the site there where the workers can then do the demolition and reconstruction of the Gabba. So the timing is perfect, and the fact that we are linking in with our big commitment to Cross River Rail, the new underground, to the Gabba, makes sense. And once the Olympics are over, and I know the Treasurer is very interested in this, is that there'll be some commercial development around the pedestrian plaza.
In terms of the turf, the hallowed turf, does that mean that's going for a while as well? You're actually raising that as well, or just the stadium?
That's my understanding, but I'll leave turf to experts in turf. If that's all right.
Time frame in terms of when it's looking to start construction?
Yeah, well, Cross River Rail has to be finished first, and don't forget, I think the rebuild is about 4 years, so we'd need 4 years before 2032. You probably want to have 6 to 12 months to test everything out, so you're probably looking 5 years prior to 2032.
One question from me. Just in terms of the defamation laws, you've got those going through today or tomorrow through Carly. Why aren't the shield laws so important?
That is really important. The Attorney General is working on those. Yeah.
There is a journalist before the courts possibly facing jail. Why isn't it a priority like defamation?
I can't comment on that because there is a current court case, but the Attorney General has that as a priority, and she'll be bringing a cabinet submission very shortly.
Premier, the government's been very slow and thorough with laws in the past, like abortion, euthanasia, and the two separate inquiries taken on into consent now in the past 2 years. Can you explain why then the government's rushed through with these youth justice laws when frontline workers are saying to be explained and done properly, and the laws that are before the Parliament at the moment could set youth justice back 10 years? What's the rush?
No, there's no rush. It's been through the committee process, and we promised Queenslanders that we would introduce these new laws, and that's exactly what we're doing. And the fact is, we actually insisted that they go through the committee, that they go through that process, so people have had the chance to actually have their views. All right, everyone.
Got to go.
Last one. Yeah, okay. We've got to go to Parliament. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Thanks.
So there you are, ladies and gentlemen, that big announcement for today. So that's why, we had to let it run its full course, because it's a very historic moment for us here, and that's a very historic announcement. And Gabba, as we know, will be no more. It will be completely transformed, and Populous, which is just behind our building on the corner of Macrossan and Adelaide Street, have already done the design. So it will link the Cross River Rail to that infrastructure, and getting to Gabba during peak hours when the matches are on is hard. We know that streets are closed, you got to park miles away, walk, there's no way, no other means, but this when with that walkway and everything going right into the venue will be just amazing. Well, right now the other breaking news is the travel bubble that's just opened between Australia and New Zealand.
A hero's welcome from the fire and rescue team at Queenstown's airport. It's been 387 days since the last plane arrived with international passengers. And loved ones were reunited across New Zealand. Some met their grandchildren for the first time.
I've been waiting so long, it's just fantastic. He's 5 months old, first time it was done.
For others it was bittersweet, flying in for funerals, but still relieved to be able to get here.
It's sad circumstances that she's here for the loss of their brother, but we're happy that we get this opportunity.
Excited crowds greeted the happy travellers, and even the Prime Minister was greeting arrivals.
The spirit of welcome that is here amongst everyone that's working here, it's been incredible.
Alexander and Tram Andrich arrived in Queenstown for a honeymoon after marrying in Sydney on the weekend. They took the chance for a free bungee jump.
Here we go.
Eager Airlines carried up to 10,000 passengers across the Tasman today, most of them into New Zealand.
We're adding 16 flights a day to New Zealand, return flights a day, and they're full.
It also means hundreds of airline crews are flying again. In Melbourne, travellers were sent off with a smile. And people were just so happy to leave.
It's amazing. It's been a long time, so really looking forward to it. Meeting our 10-month-old new niece as well. It'll be great.
But it's not just happy families. Businesses are counting on billions of dollars coming in again. The economic windfall for tourism operators couldn't have come soon enough. Here in Queenstown, many have already been forced to close. They simply couldn't hang on any longer.
This is the light at the end of the tunnel which will keep them going. This really is the saviour for us.
Now there's hope it'll be a little easier, at least for those who are together again.
And what emotional scenes there. Wonderful to see that. And amazing that, all the people could be reunited once again. And that's amazing number of flights that are going. And they're all fully booked. So that's just amazing. Well, right now, federal government has made a move about the good society, moving the line, and of course, saying yes, and about consent. So this has already come under a lot of criticism. You judge for yourself.
To cross into the action zone, both people must agree.
Do you want to try my milkshake?
Yes, I do.
Is it better than yours?
No, I think I prefer mine.
But what happens when one person takes action without an agreement?
You do, huh? Well, drink it. Drink it all.
What are you doing?
Drink it all.
This is what we call moving the line. When a person imposes their will on you, it's as if they were moving the yes line over the maybe zone or the end zone, ignoring your rich inner world and violating your individual freedoms and rights. And that's not good. Moving the line is at least disrespectful, at worst abusive.
It's just a funny game, Bailey. I know you really like my milkshake.
How does a line move make you feel? It depends. For instance, some decisions may be more important to you than others. Moving the line on should we have pizza for dinner may not upset you as much as moving on can I touch your butt? Similarly, if someone moves the line once, it might not matter to you. But if someone moves the line over and over again, even on small decisions, then you might come to feel very upset. But the field model is clear. In a free and equal relationship, whoever moves the line is breaking the rules. They don't get to say how you feel. You have every right to be as upset as you like.
I'm really angry at you right now.
Oh, you're just being silly.
In serious cases, a line move may make you consider the quality of your entire relationship.
Is this a respectful relationship?
In a respectful relationship, if someone moves the line, you might be upset but ultimately want to repair the situation.
Veronica, sometimes I don't like the way you treat me, and I need you to apologize so I know you've understood what you've done.
I'm sorry, Bailey. I've been forcing you to drink my milkshake even though you don't want to. And I've plastered it all over your face and made you feel terrible.
But if someone moves the line on something important, or moves it repeatedly on even small things, then you might decide you have a disrespectful relationship.
Why am I here?
If a relationship is fundamentally disrespectful, you have even more difficult choices. Should you still try to repair the relationship, get help, or just walk away?
You don't go anywhere.
In extreme cases, you may feel unsafe to stay or to leave, and wonder what you need to do to protect yourself. Meanwhile, if you are the person who moved the line, will you recognize what you're doing and stop yourself? Or continue blindly until someone stops you?
Get off me, Veronica. I hate you so much right now.
What am I doing? I'm hurting Bailey to make myself feel more powerful. I have to stop this.
Can you take responsibility for what you've done?
I'm sorry, Bailey. Please forgive me.
No, Veronica, I just want you to leave me alone.
Can you respect the other person?
I understand. But please know I don't want to be this way.
It's too late, Veronica.
Do you get help of your own?
Oscar, am I a bad person?
Veronica, I think you should talk to a professional.
Maintaining any relationship is hard work. But handling a disrespectful relationship can be upsetting, lonely, even dangerous. In fact, it can be one of the hardest things we do in our lives. This is why it is important to be able to recognize a line move, make sense of your feelings, and consider your options. And remember, you can always find someone to support you, no matter which side of the line you're on. Next time on...
So what do you reckon? It's already come under a lot of fire. People are criticizing that, they're not really liking it at all. Well, right now, it's time to take a look at our sponsors for the segment.
GlobeNet Realty. GlobeNet Realty has been the longest established, trusted and respected agency in its trade area. Washa Chandra, Director of GlobeNet Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 775 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetralty.com.au. GlobeNet Realty is your own local real estate agency. Situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. GlobeNet Realty. Real estate is our world.
And real estate is there well. And don't forget that tomorrow we'll bring to you the live discussion on all the matters on real estate. We will be looking at property trends, we'll be looking at open houses, we'll be looking at what the charts are doing, what the graphs are doing, throughout the nation. Well, right now, moving on, let's go to the international scene. And as I mentioned before, that there are cases out of control in Delhi. Let's take a look at that report.
An official announcement that's come in. Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal of Delhi imposes a 6-day lockdown. The lockdown in Delhi from 10 p.m. tonight all the way till 5 p.m. on the 25th of April. Here, marriages with only 50 guests, essential services allowed. Of course, no other gatherings will be allowed. Religious places will be, no congregations will be allowed at all. Here is Arvind Kejriwal, who says no option but to implement this lockdown. Let me quickly cut across to Anisha Mathur joining us more details. Anisha, take us through point by point exactly what are the parameters of this fresh lockdown that will be in play now until the 26th of April.
Well, there is going to be a strict lockdown in Delhi, but there are some leniencies that have been made. First of all, the government has said that while there is a complete lockdown from today 10 p.m. till 5 a.m. on the 26th, Kejriwal has specifically requested that migrant labourers should not move out of Delhi, that they will be taken care of, that the travel will in fact take a longer time than the lockdown will take. Secondly, what he said is that marriages can happen, marriage ceremonies, but with only 50 guests, and complete the rules regarding the distancing and masking must be followed. The lockdown will remain in place from tonight till Monday morning. The detailed parameters will be brought out shortly. The notification will be issued. But at the moment, what we do know from this press conference is that the health system of Delhi is extremely stressed, and that is why, with more than 25,000 cases per day coming in, the Delhi government has decided to take this decision. Only essential services will be allowed. There will be closure of all offices, schools, colleges, etc., which was already there. Religious congregations, any other kind of congregations, gatherings will not be allowed in Delhi. Remember, we're already under restrictions, whereas any kind of political, religious, social gatherings were not allowed. But once again, for this week, there will be a complete lockdown on all persons from traveling to any place in Delhi. You should not be outside of your house as far as possible. Only essential services will be allowed. Public transport will also be restricted to essential services personnel only. Markets are going to be shut, offices, etc. are going to be shut. So once again, Delhi is going to be under a lockdown for a week. As the Chief Minister has just announced, Delhi's health system is extremely stressed with the numbers that we're seeing of patients coming in. The hospital beds, oxygen, ventilators, etc. cannot keep up with that kind of pressure. And if you can see around me, I'm going to ask my camera person to pan. We're in Connaught Place right now near Palika Bazaar, and many people around here are not following the masking norms, which is something that has contributed to the rise in COVID cases. And the government has made it very clear that they're going to get stricter about this. With the lockdown coming in, we saw a lot of challans and FIRs being filed over this weekend when there was a weekend lockdown, and in the next coming week, strict implementation of the lockdown is going to be done. Back to you.
Right, Anisha, we're looking at a fresh curve that will be on until the 26th of April. 10 p.m. tonight it starts. It almost appears like what were the measures that was imposed during the weekend. The weekend curfew is the similar imposition that will continue until the 26th. It's exactly the same, almost more or less the same as what it was during the weekend curfew, which means no congregations. But what we'd like to know here is that is interstate travel allowed, be it through trains or buses, or for that matter even airlines?
Well, as of right now, there are no restrictions on interstate travel. Anyone with a valid air ticket or a valid train ticket will be allowed to go to the railway station or the airport. But the government and the Chief Minister in his PC has very specifically made the request to people, don't try to flee, don't try to clog the railway stations or the bus stations. It is only a one-week lockdown, and the Chief Minister has expressed his hope that he will not need to extend the lockdown at the moment, that this 1 week curfew is going to break the chain of transmission that we've been seeing. So at the moment, while there is no restriction on travel between states, the request that has been made by the Chief Minister is, please don't go out if you don't necessarily have to. Back to you.
Well, I'd like to ask you here, Anisha, will offices be functional? Of course, we do know essential services like your hospitals, your medical infrastructure, even media outlets for that matter will be functional, will be allowed to function. But what about other establishments, other businesses? Can offices function?
Well, no, it's been made very clear that this is going to be a complete lockdown. All offices have to work from home. Any private offices must initiate work from home or close their offices. Even government offices, only the essential services will continue. Government offices will also work on a limited manner, but the detailed parameters of how exactly the government offices are going to function will come in the notification that will be issued very shortly. But the Chief Minister has said that the private offices as well as government offices, all non-essential services, basically, this is the rule, all non-essential services will be shut down. So private offices have been asked to ask their employees to work from home. Government offices will also work from home as much as possible. Any government offices, however, will remain functional as far as the essential services are concerned. This is almost exactly the same parameters that were in place this time last year.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Anisha, for joining us with those details. Here's Arvind Kejriwal.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you are, the update from Delhi. Of course, COVID out of control and the lockdown that's been put in place, which is, of course, very, very necessary. Let's take a look at some of the functions and events. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's about all we have time for you in this segment. It's been wonderful having your company on this very historic day when we made the announcement of the opening and closing venue for the 2032 Olympics being announced right here in Brisbane. Well, right now, it's time to say goodbye. Until tomorrow, remain safe and have a wonderful day.